This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check you have the tickets in your wallet first before you drive 2 hours to the big game. Seriously, you had one job. Now the closest you'll get to the 50-yard line is parking lot D. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
This episode is brought to you by Honda. When you test drive the new Prologue EV, there's a lot that could impress you about it. There's the class-leading passenger space, the clean, thoughtful design, and the intuitive technology. But out of everything, what you'll really love most is that it's a Honda. Visit honda.com/EV to see offers.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Upgrade your business with Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning fewer carts going abandoned and more sales going cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, get a commerce platform that's ready to sell wherever your customers are. Visit Shopify.com to upgrade your selling today.
Welcome to the Eagles Checkdown, right here on the Eagles Pin Pull Podcast Network. I'm your host, Bill Stiefel. You can find me on all social media platforms at Beard and Knowledge, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, you name it. That's where I'm at. Host of Train in the AM, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. on the STT Sports Network as well. Find that link below. This Eagles Checkdown is where we bring you the fastest under 10-minute Eagles podcast covering news, notes, and opinions from the previous day. It's Wednesday, October 2nd, which means on Tuesday, VIc Fangio and Kellen Moore spoke to the media. So we're going to cover some of the key points there from what the two coordinators had to say. And we're going to talk a little bit about a word, optics. We'll get into that in a little bit. First and foremost, I'm going to cover Kellen Moore's part of the press conference, which was last first, because there just wasn't much said from Kellen Moore. You know, I'm reading my notes. I took an entire page of notes from VIc Fangio and Kellen Moore. And literally, if you could see my notes, I know you're listening on Spotify or Apple iTunes or whatnot. Literally, 4 lines are from VIc Fangio's press conference. The rest of the entire page is on, or the 4 lines on Kellen Moore. Like literally, the rest of it is on VIc Fangio. So Kellen Moore, first and foremost, is going to make an excellent head coach one day because he literally gives you nothing and you learn absolutely nothing. He literally said the same thing for multiple. He was asked about Jalen Hurts' struggles. And he says he's doing fine. Asked about Jahan Dotson and his struggles of getting open. He's doing fine. You know, it's literally the same answer. It's a typical, give them nothing kind of coach. And it's kind of annoying because it's extra annoying when you have VIc Fangio giving you so much and so much honesty. He did mention a few things. You know, his script versus the defense. Sometimes he's got to work on adjusting that a little bit more. The slow starts need to be faster. He needs to find a way to make sure Saquon Barkley gets the ball better. Defenses have been good versus them to start, so he's got to find a way to maybe get off the script a little sooner. But that's pretty much all it is. And he was asked, and he really didn't give much, but it was a good question, that after the way the first drive or two, they script the first 15 or so plays, offensively speaking, the Eagles and Kellen Moore. He was asked about after that first opening drive that was just so dominant, and then we go 3 and out. And then they do another dominant drive, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, we're down 14-0. Maybe he should have switched the script a little bit quicker and gotten off those pre-scripts. So that's pretty much all we learned from Kellen Moore, which is pretty much nothing. But VIc Fangio was asked a lot. He gave us a decent amount of information on certain players, on certain styles, and certain struggles. And I'm just going to ramble on here on some of the notes I took. He mentioned a lot. He talked about coverage and how they weren't close enough in coverage. They played too soft. They played off. He tried to relay that message, and it didn't happen. And then they fell behind, and it kept snowballing. And he kept mentioning second and long and third and long, and how they were never able to get those third and shorts and second and short. They were in second and third. I'm terrible today. Sorry, I apologize. They were in second and third short instead of second and third and long. So they weren't able to stop them, and it just kept snowballing. Just like this podcast is snowballing out of control right away here today. He was asked about how Tom Brady on the broadcast said he's scared to play press coverage, and he said no. And he was very adamant about that. He said he can press more. The team can press more. He's got the talented cornerbacks to press more. They just didn't get the job done. He was asked about Jalen Carter's snap count, which is pretty intense at this point. He says no, he's pretty sure that, Jalen Carter can sustain it a little bit better. It just depends on where the snaps are coming and what kind of order they're coming in. He was asked a lot about the tackling issues. And then the reporter that asked, it's like the tackling or lack thereof. And he kind of chuckled and said, yeah, the lack thereof. But he did give us a little details. He said, a lot of the missed tackles are because the defenders are leaving their feet too early. That's a key little nugget there that you wouldn't get from a Kellen Moore type person or Kellen Moore type coach. He says they got to do a better job wrapping up. And when they leave their feet too early, that creates that issue. He also said the tackling issues help create the coverage issues. And the coverage issues help create the bad tackling. So both things have to be working hand in hand to work out. He also thought some of the guys that stepped in injury situations like Isaiah Rodgers and Tristan McCullum, he saw encouraging signs there. He did mention blatantly Chauncey Gardner-Johnson needs to tackle better. He needs to be sharper in his execution. Two names that haven't gotten much playing time or any playing time this year, Cooper DeJean and Sidney Brown were mentioned. Cooper DeJean, he said he's close. He's close to being ready. Maddox has been fine, but he wants some of those plays back. I would be shocked if Cooper DeJean in week 6 is not upping his 1 or 2 snaps per game and a much more vital part of the defense going forward. That was just the tone in his voice when he was talking Cooper DeJean that he might be a much larger role as this season progresses, which kind of is what this team needs. A guy like Cooper DeJean with his intensity to kind of bring an identity to this defense in that slot. He was asked about Sidney Brown, who is eligible to be activated, in week 6 or his practice window be opened. And he said he's excited about Sidney Brown. He's excited about what he can bring. He expects him to at least be at practice in week 6, but he wanted to make sure we were patient too. Cooper DeJean hasn't played really much football since November last year. He had a few snaps in the preseason. He was very, very, stuck on the fact that let's be patient with what to expect. Don't put huge expectations on Sidney Brown coming back from that injury. It is going to be a slow process. You could see Sidney Brown get activated and then be a game day inactive early on. It's kind of like the vibe I was getting. And then kind of the Sidney Brown or the Cooper DeJean treatment is what Sidney Brown's going to get. Might get 1 snap here, 2 snaps there, a little bit of special teams here and there. Keep in mind, if Sidney Brown is activated and Sidney Brown comes off the PUP list, somebody's going to be cut. I still stick to the fact that I think that will be Devin White. Optics. The word of the day will be optics. It's been the word of the week so far, optics. And Darius Slay, again, out there chirping at the fans, chirping at the media, chirping at everybody that'll listen. And I quote his Twitter account from 10:39 a.m. on Tuesday, October 1st. Shit crazy, brah. I just want to have fun and enjoy work. I don't bother nobody, but it's all good. Dude, these players, they need to learn when to shut up. They got to learn read the room, when it's right to chirp and when it's not right to chirp. And right now, it's not right to chirp for Darius Slay. He and this defense and this team has played like crap, and they're all out here having a good old time like nothing is wrong. The fans want to see that the players are pissed off. The fans want to see that they want to be better, that it upsets them, it bothers them. And even if it doesn't bother them or upset them, the fans don't want to see you out there having a good time like nothing's wrong. Show some ownership in what has gone down this year so far. But Darius Slay out here chirping, just like Isaiah Rodgers, just like everybody else. The fractures and the optics that are happening in this locker room to this team so far in only 4 weeks, It's just not good. The optics of the loss. If I would have told you 2-2 we would be after 4 weeks with everything that's going on, travel, injuries, etc., you would have loved that here in 2-2. But the optics on how they lost and how they followed that loss up with is making it very hard for the fans to get excited about this Eagles team. Guys, this is the Eagles Checkdown on the Eagles Pinpool Podcast Network. Again, I'm Phil Stiefel, at Bearded Knowledge on all social media platforms. And make sure you find me on Trending in the AM on the STT Sports Network, linked below, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. till 9:30. Talking Philly, Sixers, Flyers, Eagles, you name it, we're talking it. I'd greatly appreciate it. Subscribe if you click that link, or copy and paste and then click that link that's down below in the description, guys. I'd greatly appreciate it. Again, this is the Eagles Checkdown on the Eagles Pinpool Podcast Network, the fastest under 10-minute Eagles podcast out there. Guys, have a great night. Go Birds. Bubbles up.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Upgrade your business with Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning fewer carts going abandoned and more sales going cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, get a commerce platform that's ready to sell wherever your customers are. Visit Shopify.com to upgrade your selling today.